Time dilation is one of the strangest counterintuitive concepts that you're ever really going to encounter. And it's nice to have a kind of mental mnemonic, a kind of shorthand way of thinking about this strange idea that perhaps makes it a little bit more intuitive. I'd like to give you such an intuitive way of thinking about time dilation now. And let me say, you can justify the explanation I'm about to give you mathematically. And if you're taking the mathematical version of this course, we will justify it a little bit later on. But if you're not, don't worry about it. But this gives you a nice way of thinking about why it is that time ticks off more slowly when a clock is in motion. Here's the idea. Forget about time for a moment. Let's just think about space. And imagine that we have a car that's headed due north at 100 kilometers per hour. Now imagine that the car steers off and drives to the east without changing its speed. Now its motion in the northward direction will not be as quick as it was previously because some of the northward motion has been diverted into northeast motion. So what that means is motion can be shared between dimensions. And when motion is shared in that way, motion that was fully devoted to one direction gets diverted to another direction. So motion in the initial direction slows down. Let me just show you a little visual on that. So here we have our car. I'm going to show three versions of the car. One's going due north. The others are going northeast at various angles. And there you see the point. This car has traveled much further in the northward direction than these cars because these cars have diverted some of the northward motion into eastward motion. So the idea is when you go in a different direction through space, you divert some of your initial motion into that new motion in the new direction. Good. Okay, now let's take that idea and apply it not to space, but to space and time. Okay, so right now, here I am. And you would say that I'm not moving relative to you, say. But of course I am moving, right? Look at my watch, right? My watch is ticking second after second after second, taking me forward in time, forward in the time dimension, if you will. Good. Now, imagine that I get up and I start to walk. Einstein basically told us that as I walk, I divert some of my previous motion through time into this motion through space, which means I move through time less quickly. Much as over here, this car goes less quickly in the northward direction because it's diverted some of the initial north motion into east motion. When I start to move, I divert my initial motion through time into this motion through space, so my passage through time slows down. That idea, to me, is the most straightforward, intuitive way of understanding time dilation. You can make it mathematically precise, but putting that to the side, if you want to think about why it is that a clock slows when it's in motion, simply think to yourself, when it's sitting still, all of its motions through time, when I see it moving through space, it has diverted some of that motion through time into motion through space, so it passes through time more slowly. That's why time ticks off slower on a moving clock.
You know, what's crazy is how some people can just ingest this type of information without having to really think about it, But for me, this couple of minutes worth of video is just like mind blowing. So what really trips me out is I did a video about waves, and how time seems to slow down when you're in the barrel. And I can't believe I've known that this long, this many years. Not that I never questioned it, but I never questioned it seriously. I mean, I never thought it was knowable, you know? Like, I didn't know you could find the answers to some of this stuff as to why does time slow down when you're inside of a breaking wave sometimes. There's 3 dimensions all moving in 3 dimensions, and then it folds on itself. So now you have motion that is moving and also bending on itself, and you're inside of that. First question is, when a wave breaks and folds upon itself like that, are we dealing with 3 dimensions, or are we dealing with more than 3 dimensions? And the other question is, what happens with that time warp and time dilation, I guess is what now I'm learning that's the proper name for it. But he just gave a really simple, quick explanation for it. Like, duh, when you're moving at all, and you're moving through time, but when you actually physically move, now you're slowing down time. It's insane. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video.